Justice Daub. I am 18 years old and I'm a senior at Orange Junior Senior High School. My plans include going to a four-year college. Senator Sullivan, my question for you is currently Nebraska and many other states are looking at creating a voter ID law. Do you think Nebraska needs a voter ID law? Why or why not? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Bessie. If you talk to the Secretary of State, he will tell you here in Nebraska that voter fraud is not an issue. When President Bush was in office, he asked his Department of Justice to launch a very thorough investigative study of voter fraud and found that not to be an issue. I have served on the government committee, and I'll be right up front and say that when that particular bill came forward to us, I did not vote to have it sent out to committee. It did come out of committee, and this voter bill, ID bill, would have required identification of the person when they came to vote. But it came to the floor of the legislature, and about the time that it did, I was going around to fish fries in the district, and I talked to many constituents, and many of whom have been poll workers for many years here in Nebraska and in District 41. And they voiced some concern and said, you know, we don't know everybody that's coming to the polls, and we value the integrity of the voting process. And because we show voter identification in so many other places, why do we have identification to be shown at the polls? So I sort of changed my attitude about that, and I will support it if we deal with it in the legislature again. But one thing I will tell you, I want, if we go that route and have voter identification, and if there is a cost involved, I want the cost to be stood by the states. I don't want this an added burden on the counties if, in fact, we have to have voter identification at the polls.
Thank you. Mr. Curtiss, how do you feel about the voter ID law in Nebraska?
When I first, When I first heard about the voter ID bill, I was actually pretty excited about it. The way that I was raised is that voting in this country is a privilege, and it's something that should be upheld with the most reverent of authority, I guess is the best way that I would put it. When I was originally studying the voter ID bill and seeing what was involved, thoughts came to my mind, such as things as we have to have a license to drive our car, that we have to show. We have to show that we have proof of insurance. We have to show that we have homeowners insurance. We have to show that we're reasonable when we get loans at the bank. We have to show that we have jobs. We have to show that we have identification so that people know who we are, for a lot of other, what I would consider trivial things when it comes in terms of voting for our nation's leaders. I am fully in support of the voter ID bill at any given point, in almost any form, I would imagine. I do not see it as that big of a burdensome idea. I can't imagine, I think I knew one person when I was growing up, one adult that didn't have a driver's license when I was growing up. And so, as far as Mrs. Sullivan alluded to costs and things, I would consider those to be minimal. I don't think the legislature would put our local government in any sort of jeopardy as far as money is concerned. But I fully support the voter ID bill. I think it's a reasonable, responsible thing to do when choosing our nation's leaders.
Senator Sullivan, would you reply back to that in 30 seconds about the cost of the voter ID bill going into effect?
In the discussions that we had during the debate on this piece of legislation on the floor of the legislature, there was a lot of discussion about what appropriate means of identification there would be. And there was discussion about the state issuing a state ID card. Because, as Mr. Curtiss said, for as many people as have driver's license and other forms of identification, some people don't. And so if we're going to stand constitutional muster, if you will, and make sure that there is an adequate form of ID, there is probably going to be a cost involved.
Mr. Curtiss, your response about the cost?
Certainly. I'm sure there would be some costs involved. I do agree with that. But as I said, I don't think that they would be anything astronomical. To be able to register a car, you have to show 2 permanent forms of ID, which include magazine subscription, clippings, or proof of insurance, or any kind of easily identifiable things. I don't feel that the bill would be burdensome or cost prohibitive.
Thank you. The next question comes from Lexi Sanders.